My college fund was given to my sister without Mom knowing I was her new employer. Before we begin the story, make sure to subscribe to our channel and never miss more incredible stories every day. I was plating lasagna when my mother raised her glass and said, "I did something you'll both be proud of." Sunday dinners at Mom's house start with a speech and end with a rule I'm supposed to follow. I'm Owen, 31, owner of Northline Dispatch, a 3-van courier outfit with a shared desk at a co-working space and a ledger I can read without antacids. My family still calls it your little delivery thing, as if customers pay with crayons. My sister Tessa, 28, watched Mom like a student waiting for a grade. "I moved your college fund where it would do real good," Mom said, beaming. "Tessa's starting a certificate program and needs essentials. The 529 was just sitting there, wasted. You never used it." The fork stopped halfway to my mouth. "My 529? I asked. "From Grandpa's well. It's family money," she said, as if that answered ownership. "I've managed it for years. There are penalties, yes, but those are sacrifices we make for each other." She smiled in the way that means a fight already happened, and I missed my lines. "Besides, your van job is going fine. Education is an investment." Tessa's cheeks colored. "Mom, you said it was an old savings account," she murmured. My brain did math before my mouth made sound. Non-qualified distribution means taxes and a penalty on me. I set the fork down. "How much?" "Enough," Mom said. "You'll thank me when she finishes." Then, softer, almost gentle, "Owen, don't be dramatic. You didn't even go. I've learned the boring heroics of small business. Payroll Fridays, insurance audits, winter tires, the names of night guards who signed for fragile things. What I could lose sat between the salt and the pepper. Reliability, Q2 margins, my calm. "Show me the statements," I said. "We don't have to make it ugly," she replied. "It's handled." "It's not handled," I said. "It's mine." She patted my hand like I was a boy refusing broccoli. "I'm the custodian," she said. "Paperwork is just paperwork. Custodian is an owner." I knew that before dessert arrived like a verdict we hadn't read. Mom slid a form across the table and told me to sign. Childhood pictures line Mom's hallway. Me holding Tessa's handlebars, Tessa holding my trophy, Mom holding all decisions. Dad left early. Mom became the house bank and the rules committee. "We help the weaker one," she'd say, placing an extra scoop on Tessa's plate and an extra chore on mine. When I launched Northline, she called it a phase, then a nice little hustle. Then, my favorite, a boy job with trucks. Last month she asked, "When will you try a real career?" I laughed it off in public and bled in private. After dinner, I washed pans while she folded a dish towel like a contract. "You don't need college anymore," she said. "You made yourself useful. Tessa needs her chance." "Tessa works," I said, drying a plate. "She's been doing remote intake through an agency for a regional dispatcher. Good performance reviews." Mom's smile sharpened. "Gig scraps," she said. "I know what stable looks like." "I know too. I built it." Tessa doesn't know who she works for because I hired her through an agency under a project name, in LD Ops, so Mom's opinions wouldn't poison the trial period. Tessa is good, better than good. She catches address transpositions at 1 a.m. and diffuses drivers who argue with GPS like it's a horoscope. A white envelope waited in my mailbox when I got home. Inside, a 1099 Q tax form with my name and a distribution amount that made my stomach tilt. There was also an email from the plan administrator. Beneficiary change processed. I hadn't requested it. A login alert showed access at 6:14 a.m. from Mom's zip code. I called Tessa. "Did you know the money was mine?" She went very quiet. Mom said it was an old account. I thought it was hers. "Where did it go?" "School," she said, then softer. "And some things. Rent. Past due card. She told me not to tell you until you weren't so sensitive." I looked at the 1099 Q and saw more than numbers, penalties, an audit trail, and a timeline someone would have to explain under fluorescent lights. Mom texted that we could discuss family duty after church on Wednesday. At Northline the next morning, our co-working desk faced a window and a brick wall that used to be a cigar factory. I opened QuickBooks, payroll, and the agency portal where Tessa's timesheets live. Her hours were solid, the notes meticulous. Customer requested signature scan. Driver 14 took alt route. ETA updated. I exported a report and compared it to my bank ledger. Her pay was consistent, not charity. A second email pinged from the 529 plan. Non-qualified distribution confirmed. 10% additional tax may apply. Additional. On top of income tax reported to my return. You didn't even go, Mom had said. I didn't. But Grandpa's money was meant for my education or my children's, not Mom's emergencies disguised as classes. I called the plan number. This is Mr. Patel, a calm voice said. He asked me to verify everything twice. Then he read what his screen showed. Custodian account, he said. Authorized user login changed beneficiary last month. Then requested 2 distributions within 30 days. Authorized user? I asked. Not owner. Correct. Custodian does not equal beneficiary, he said. We have IP logs if needed. Send them, I said, writing with the slow anger that makes letters careful. Mr. Patel explained 1,099 Q boxes like a teacher with patience. Who gets taxed depends on where the money goes. Penalties trigger on non-qualified expenses. If the funds didn't go to tuition or eligible expenses, you may contest, he added. We can place a temporary flag. I heard the small click of a lever moving somewhere far away. I forwarded the logs to Aunt Nora, our family's human calculator. She called within 10 minutes. Breathe, she said. We deal in facts, not guilt. Get me dates, amounts, and the beneficiary change form. Also pull Tessa's pay stubs. If Tessa had steady income, Mom's necessity story tilts. Tessa texted from lunch break. Please don't say anything about Northline. If Mom knows you hired me, she'll make me quit. She can't make you quit, I wrote. She can make me choose, Tessa replied. My printer started spitting pages. IP logs, beneficiary forms, my 1099 Q, and a paper trail thick enough to build a bridge or a bonfire. A certified letter from the plan administrator landed with a thud on my doormat. Mom operates on theater. That night, she posted a photo of herself lighting a candle with the caption, doing the hard thing for family. The comments were hearts, prayers, and one aunt saying, proud of you. I read it at the laundromat, feeding quarters into a machine that speaks and grumbles. The certified letter rode shotgun home. At my kitchen table, I slit the envelope. Distribution detail, the header read. 2 transfers, 2 weeks apart. Memo lines, tuition/books, and household support. The first went to a community college bursar's office. Real enough. The second went to a checking account ending in numbers I didn't recognize. The beneficiary change listed Tessa M. with my date of birth still attached because the software pulled it from the original profile. Sloppy. Useful. I called. Mom answered on the second ring. Owen, she said brightly, I've been thinking. You changed the beneficiary and took the money, I said. Without asking. I protected your sister, she said. You wouldn't mind if you had a generous bone. There's a penalty, I said. On my return. You can afford it, she replied. It's only money. Family is forever. Is the checking account yours? I asked. Silence. Then the rustle of a hand over the receiver. Don't interrogate me in that tone, she said. You sound like your father. I almost said, good. He at least asked permission before taking things. Instead, I counted to 5. We're meeting at the bank, I said. Bring your statements. I will not be ambushed, she snapped. Nor will I said. After we hung up, Tessa called, voice small. Please don't blow it up, she said. I'm scared she'll choose pride and freeze me out. You're an adult, I said. We can fix money. We need boundaries. Aunt Nora texted, Wednesday, 11 a.m., Midtown Branch, conference room reserved. Bring ID, 1099 Q, and calm. Then, another text. I love you. Facts first. Mom posted a second photo of a candle and captioned it, Prayers for Stubborn Hearts. Midtown Bank smells like ink and carpet glue. A manager led us to a glass room with a printer the size of a toddler. Aunt Nora opened a legal pad. Her pen clicked like a starter pistol. Mom arrived in a good blouse and a face polished for negotiation. We are not enemies, she said, sitting. We are a family that reallocates. Great, Nora said. Then we'll allocate facts. Statements, please. Mom laid out 2 bursar receipts and a withdrawal page with half the text grayed by a printer low on toner. The manager, Priya, politely asked for permission to verify the destination account. Mom hesitated, then nodded with a sigh meant to imply martyrdom. Priya typed, "This account is not a school," she said gently. "It receives payroll deposits from a hardware store and a salon. It's personal." Mom clasped her hands. "It's my household account," she said. "The furnace died. The car needed brakes. Tessa needed books. I triaged. With my fund," I said, keeping my voice even. "With our resources," she corrected. Nora slid her pad across the table. "Here are the IP logs from the plan," she said. "Here is the beneficiary change. Here is the 1099Q. Here is the penalty table. Here are Tessa's pay stubs for the last 3 months. She looked at Mom. "Your necessity included credit card payoff 3 days after the first distribution." Mom's mouth thinned. "You had no right to snoop," she told me. "You had no right to take," I said. Tessa, pale, whispered, "Mom, he's my boss." The sentence hit the room like a dropped tray. "Through an agency," she added. "He kept it quiet so you wouldn't pre-decide." Mom blinked, then laughed once without humor. "Of course he would trick his own sister," she said. "He wants to own everything." "I want you to stop owning me," I said. Priya printed a transaction log. "There are options," she said. "You can set a repayment plan into the 529 within 60 days to mitigate some penalties. We can also lock the account so only the beneficiary can approve changes." Mom sat very still, measuring which mask to wear next. She chose anger and told me I should be grateful she saved Tessa's future. When cornered, Mom defaults to guilt. "I carried you through pneumonia and middle school," she said, voice swelling. "I won't apologize for saving family." She pointed at my company logo on my jacket. "You run vans, Owen. You'll manage. Tessa needs doors opened." Nora didn't flinch. "We're opening a door called accountability," she said, "and shutting one called unauthorized access." Mr. Patel joined by phone, his voice steady as a level. He explained the difference between custodian and beneficiary again. "You cannot unilaterally reassign without beneficiary consent once the account structure changed," he said. "Our record shows you clicked through warnings." He read the warnings out loud, plain English with bold text. Mom stared at the table. "Forms are confusing," she said. "Websites trick people." "Websites don't type in your checking account," Nora said. Tessa touched Mom's sleeve. "I never wanted you to get in trouble," she whispered. "I thought the help was yours to give." "It was mine to decide," Mom said. And there it was, the thesis statement of our childhood. I slid a printed plan across the table. "Here's what happens," I said. "You repay the non-qualified amount to the 529 within 60 days. You sign a no-access agreement. Tessa keeps working, officially, with a raise starting next month because she earned it. We inform my accountant and file a statement with the plan to document dispute and mitigation." Mom's eyes flashed. "And if I refuse?" "Then we file a police report for unauthorized access and a civil claim," Nora said, not unkindly. "I don't want that for you." Priya cleared her throat. "If you need to sell something to make the deposit, we can explore a short-term line," she said carefully. "But the 60-day clock is not flexible." In the hallway after, Tessa hugged me hard, tears hitting my jacket. "I didn't know," she said. "I swear." "I know," I said. "It's over now." My phone buzzed. A notification from the plan. User attempted to change security questions. The attempt came from Mom's IP address while we were still in the bank. We moved fast. Priya locked the account. Mr. Patel enabled two-factor with my number only. Nora drafted a simple agreement in plain language. I dropped the document at Mom's house at dusk. The porch light clicked on like a stage cue. Mom opened the door, but not the conversation. "I won't sign something you wrote to humiliate me," she said. "It's to protect the fund," I said. "And you? You've always needed control," she said. "You were born with a clipboard." "I was born with responsibilities," I said. "You gave me both." She looked past me at the street. "Your father never forgave me for choosing you," she said. "I won't apologize for choosing your sister now. It wasn't the same, and we both knew it." "Choosing is not stealing," I said. "This is stealing." She took the envelope with 2 fingers like it might stain. "I'll think about it," she said, and closed the door politely enough to count as insult. At home, I opened the Northline payroll dashboard and approved Tessa's raise. I drafted an email to the agency ending the anonymity. Effective Monday, convert Tessa M to direct hire. I hit send and exhaled like a tire finding a nail and deciding to hold anyway. My accountant called back. File a statement with your return explaining the unauthorized distribution, she said. Document every contact, every printout. If mom repays inside 60 days, you may reduce penalty exposure. Then, are you okay? I'm tired, I said, but not lost. The doorbell rang. A courier, Irony's cousin, handed me a padded envelope from mom's lawyer friend, a letter accusing me of coercion and financial abuse of a vulnerable parent. I laughed once, then sat down because laughing while angry turns into something uglier. Nora texted, "Do not take the bait. Paper replies to paper." Then mom posted another candle and wrote, "Sometimes the ones you raise become your judge and jury." We reconvened in a neutral conference room 2 days later because neutral rooms make fewer messes. Priya projected the 529 dashboard onto a TV. Mr. Patel attended on a tablet propped between a carafe of water and a bowl of mints. Nora brought copies of everything in a neat stack that smelled faintly of toner and justice. Mom arrived with her lawyer friend, a man who wore concern like cologne. "Before we begin," he said, "Elena was acting in the best interests of the family." Nora nodded. "Fine," she said. "Then let's measure those interests." On the screen, beneficiary change timestamp, IP address, warning screen, click-through log. Then the distributions. Priya tapped the second line. Household support, $3, 200, she read. Destination, personal checking. Mr. Patel added, "This is not qualified. Penalty likely." He paused. "However, repayment within 60 days can mitigate." Mom stared at her hands. Then her lawyer tried a new story. Owen benefited from his mother's oversight for years. "I benefited from Grandpa's planning and my own restraint," I said. "Mom was a custodian, not a king." Tessa swallowed. "I have something," she said, surprising me. She opened a folder and slid out a letter in her tidy handwriting. "I'm staying at Northline," she said. "I appreciate help that is actually help. I won't be the reason my brother pays penalties for money he never touched." Mom's eyes shone with something like grief finally finding its correct shape. "I wanted you both safe," she whispered. "Then stop picking locks and call first," I said. Mr. Patel cleared his throat gently. "If Elena can deposit the non-qualified amount by Friday, we'll note good faith correction," he said. "We'll also lock the account permanently to beneficiary approval." Mom's lawyer looked at her. She nodded once, pride swallowing pride. We slid the repayment instructions across the table. Nora turned to me. "One more thing," she said. "Say it." I faced Mom and kept my voice calm. "I hired Tessa," I said. "She earned it. She stays." Mom's jaw tightened, and then she asked if the 60-day window could possibly be extended. "The plan starts small because small survives the first punch." I schedule a meeting with Mr. Patel in person, ask Priya to print a repayment quote to the penny, and invite Mom and Tessa with a subject line that sounds like a truce. Let's fix this together. At home, I build folders named by date. 1_logins, 2_distributions, 3_repayment. I scan every page twice. I write a one-page narrative in plain English that an exhausted auditor could read after lunch and still nod. Nora trims it with her accountant pen until only the essential steps remain. I rehearse what I'll say if Mom starts the greatest hits album. "You never used it. This is family money. You're ungrateful. I won't litigate childhood tonight. We will talk dates, amounts, and what happens by Friday at 4 p.m. if the deposit doesn't land." Nora calls that guardrails, and I like the way the word holds the picture of a road you can use tomorrow. I also draft an email to my accountant authorizing her to speak directly with the plan if things tilt. Paper should talk to paper. People should stop shouting long enough to read. Tessa comes by after her shift with a bag of soup and a nervous apology. "I didn't want to be the reason you and Mom stopped speaking," she says. I tell her this isn't about silence. It's about naming things correctly so they can heal. She laughs once and says she's never heard money and healing share a sentence without a preacher involved. We sit on the floor and assemble a binder, our knees touching like children sharing a flashlight. For the first time all week, her shoulders drop. At midnight, my phone buzzes with a security code request I didn't make. The 529 plan rejects it because two-factor is on my number only, but the attempt records. I forward the alert to Nora and Mr. Patel with the subject, "Another try." I don't write Mom, because maybe it isn't. I also don't pretend strangers guess my childhood address at 12:01 a.m. by chance. I lock the front door and put the binder by the coffee maker like a talisman. Tomorrow we show up with facts and a clock. We will also show up with a deadline that finally means something. Mom arrives early to our pre-meeting coffee without Tessa, carrying a bakery box like a prop. "I'm returning this," she says, pushing the box toward me. Inside is my childhood baseball card binder, the one she swore got lost in a move. "See," she says, "I keep things safe." The gilt play is elegant and old. I pour her coffee anyway and use milk as a pause button. "You don't have to prove you're good," I say. "Just repay the distribution." "I have my reasons," she says. "You think money is clean, but it carries stories. Your sisters kept this house from being sad for 10 years. You left." "I moved 6 miles away," I say. "I send groceries to your porch every month." She chooses another track. "Your vans could be gone next year," she says softly. "This certificate could change Tessa's life forever." "Don't be the man who kills a garden because it isn't his." "It isn't a garden," I say. "It's a locked account with my name on taxes." She leans forward. "If I sign your paper, will you promise not to hold this over me?" "I'll promise to stop you doing it again," I say. "That's all promises are good for." The bakery box stares at me like a parable. Once, she sold my bicycle to cover a light bill, and we walked together for 3 weeks without speaking about it. She told that story as resilience at a church lunch. I told it as the first time I learned ownership had seasons. Tessa texts that she's stuck behind a broken-down bus and to start without her. Nora sends a thumbs-up emoji and the words, "Remember, facts, then feelings." Mom exhales. "If you make me sign in front of everyone, I'll never forgive you," she says. "Is that what you want?" "I want you to stop pretending love allows theft," I say. "Sign because it's right." She taps the box lid with one finger, a small metronome for blame. 59 days would be kinder, she says. "Does it have to be 60? "It has to be Friday," I say. "The plan's rules don't bend for candles on Facebook." Tessa walks in then, flushed, eyes wet, and sets down her own folder. "I brought my lease and my receipts," she says, voice shaking. "I need to say something before we go upstairs." Mom folds her hands and asks if she's about to break her heart twice. The conference room is glass and carpet squares, the kind of room where mints vanish faster than accountability. Priya connects her laptop to the TV. Mr. Patel's tablet glows. Nora stacks copies in 3 piles and sets a blue pen atop each. Mom arrives with her lawyer, Carlos, who calls me son, in a tone that claims authority without permission. "We're here to resolve," Priya says. "We'll display the plan and discuss repayment." Tessa unfolds a page she wrote last night. "I'm employed," she says. "I can pay rent and tuition. I appreciate help that is actually help. I do not consent to my brother being penalized for funds I did not request." She lays the letter down. Mom studies the paper as if stillness could edit ink. Priya shows the login warning screen. Bold language, checkboxes, a confirm button requiring 2 clicks. Mr. Patel reads timestamps. Beneficiary change, January 8th, 6:14. Distributions, January 13th and January 27th. He adds, alerts were sent and opened. Carlos clears his throat. Emotion was high, he says. Intent was benevolent. "Intent isn't a receipt," Nora replies, pointing to the second line. "Household support, $3, 200. Priya types, waits, nods. "Personal checking," she confirms. "Not an educational vendor." I slide forward a page labeled proposal. Repay by Friday. Lock changes. Beneficiary control to me. Written acknowledgement that future use requires my consent. The old part of me that fixes things with jokes tugs at my sleeve. I keep to the plan. Mom says nothing for a full minute. Then she removes a checkbook and writes slowly. "Half today," she says. "Half Friday. Cashier's check only," Priya answers. "We want clean lines." Carlos bristles. "You don't trust my client?" "We trust process," Nora says. "Everyone wins when process wins." Mr. Patel's tablet pings. He frowns. "There is a second profile tied to the account email," he says. "Created after the first distribution." "Meaning?" I ask. "Someone tried to route notices elsewhere," he says. "It failed, but it exists." Carlos's eyes flick to Mom. She looks at the window. Priya prints a notice to attach to our file. Hiding alerts isn't confusion. It is intent dressed as concern. I ask who created the shadow profile and how they guessed my answers. Big screens make small lies look smaller. Priya switches to a spreadsheet, dates down the left, amounts across, vendor codes in a column that doesn't care about feelings. Mr. Patel shows the audit trail for beneficiary changes. We log IP and device, he says. This device matches prior logins from Elena's home network. The sentence lands flat and heavy, like a gavel board of speeches. Carlos raises a palm. We're not here to shame, he says. We're here to solve. Solving starts with naming, Nora replies, and nods to me. I slide a folder marked Northline. Tessa's pay, I say. 3 months, steady, remote dispatch support, documented supervisors, taxes withheld. I look at Tessa. She nods. The regional dispatcher is me. I add. I hired her through an agency under a project code so bias wouldn't sabotage a fair trial. She earned a raise last week. Mom's mouth opens, then closes. You manipulated us, she says. I protected a hiring process from your contempt. I answer. And it worked. Priya points to the repayment instructions. Mr. Patel explains how a deposit by Friday can soften tax damage. Carlos studies his notes and lowers his voice. Elena can obtain a cashier's check this afternoon, he says. She asks for discretion. Discretion isn't secrecy, Nora says. We're making a record. Tessa lifts her chin. I'm proud of my work, she says. I want Mom to be proud too. Mom watches the window. I wanted you safe, she says. I wanted you both to have a cushion. You built a pillow fort in my name, I say. Then you slept on it. Silence stretches a minute. Mom reaches for the pen. Fine, she says. I'll repay. But you will not turn this into gossip. Only documents, Nora says. Only signatures. Priya prints the cashier's check request form and circles the deadline. Mr. Patel emails a confirmation note. We begin to gather our things when Carlos tries one last angle. You could renounce the fund, he says to me lightly, as a gesture of peace. I look at Tessa's letter and the stack that kept us from drowning, and I shake my head. Peace isn't bought with theft, I say. It's built with boundaries. Mom asks what I will do if she doesn't bring the check by Friday. Fallout doesn't explode, it settles. I spend Thursday making deliveries and phone calls, hands on the wheel, mind on a deadline. Priya emails a checklist titled Good Faith Correction. Nora drafts a memo for my accountant. Mr. Patel forwards a line I read twice because simplicity feels like mercy. Receipt of cashier's check by 4 p.m. Friday will be recorded as corrective. Mom posts no candles, which is its own weather report. Tessa forwards screenshots of cousins debating whether custodian means owner. I don't join. Paper talks to paper. People talk to everyone. The vans keep moving. A florist's emergency peonies. A law office's mislaid envelope. A pediatric clinic's sample cooler marked do not tilt. I keep it level because something deserves gentleness today. At lunch, I read a message from Carlos. We request a 1-week extension in view of Elena's hardship. Priya replies with one sentence. The plan rules do not allow extensions. It reads like stone, but feels like fairness. Boundaries are not cruelty. They are load-bearing. Tessa meets me near the river. I told Mom I'm staying at Northline, she says. She said I betrayed her. I say betrayal is what happens when love steals. She slumps, then steadies. I'll pay for the books, she adds. And for the class that already cleared. I nod. We'll handle taxes, I say. We'll handle them together. That night a letter arrives from Mom's lawyer alleging emotional duress and proposing mediation with a church elder. Nora replies, we will gladly mediate with the plan administrator present and the cashier's check first. A calendar invite from Mr. Patel titled Repayment Window lands at 4 p.m. on Friday. It is oddly comforting to see time block itself into protection. On Friday, I load boxes at dawn and check my phone too often. At 2:10 p.m., Priya texts, no check yet. At 3:35, still no check. At 3:52, I send Tessa home and park 2 blocks from the bank because waiting inside would turn me into a pendulum. At 3:58, my phone vibrates. Priya, she's here. I jog, then walk, choosing walking for once. The lobby smells like toner and resolve. Through the glass, I see Mom at the counter with a stiff back and a white envelope. She turns, sees me, and starts toward the door without meeting my eyes. Priya receives the envelope at 3:59 p.m. and walks it to the window herself. The cashier's check is crisp, the amount exact. She scans it, stamps received, and gives me the look bank people wear when order briefly defeats chaos. "We'll post today," she says. Mr. Patel emails 3 words that taste like water after salt. Correction recorded. Locked. He moves beneficiary control to me, disables the secondary profile, and notes that future changes require my written consent. Mom signs Nora's no-access agreement without ceremony. Tessa signs her offer letter to join Northline directly, and we take a photo at the co-working wall because documentation can hold joy. I make her raise retroactive to the first week of January. "You're not paying for my mistakes," she says. "You're earning a job you already do," I answer. She laughs, and the sound scrubs something off the week. At home, I tape a list of boundaries inside my cabinet next to the cumin. No shared passwords, no guardians for convenience. Written consent before any account changes. Family loans only in writing. Holidays free of financial announcements. Tessa starts a sinking fund labeled Personal Safety Net. Nora builds a calendar titled Family Accountability. First entry. Check on tax forms. We book 2 sessions with a counselor whose waiting room smells like mint and survival. Mom goes quiet online. In private, she texts Tessa the repaired furnace and writes, "I did the right thing." She sends me a message that reads, "Thank you for protecting us, even when I hated it." I wait an hour because gratitude and anger need space. Then I write, "Boundaries are how I love you without losing me." She replies with a heart and a photo of my old baseball card binder on the shelf. Sunday dinner returns in smaller form. Soup, salad, and please and thank you. We talk about normal things, traffic cones, tulips, a neighbor's dog who thinks everyone is a parade. Tessa tells Mom about a driver she calmed at 2 a.m. Mom smiles. When I get home, a thin government envelope waits under my door jamb. It's the size of trouble and the color of bureaucracy. Inside, a notice reminds me 1,099 Q distributions can affect taxes even when corrected. There is still one more conversation to have before this story ends. I meet my accountant on Tuesday with the envelope and the binder labeled evidence. She reads, makes 3 notes, and smiles the way professionals do when the abyss becomes a slope. "We'll file an explanatory statement with your return," she says. "Attach exhibits. The corrective deposit helps. Expect a small penalty on the portion that cleared before posting. It won't break you." She taps the cover. This is why paper matters. Driving home along the river, tugboats push burdens bigger than themselves and don't apologize. Tessa texts a photo of her new desk card, Tessa M, dispatch support, and I save it like a postcard from a future that finally mailed itself. At dinner, she brings lasagna from a tray Mom left on my steps. "Peace offering," Tessa says. We eat with Nora and talk about weather and why printers know when your nerves do. Here's what I learned for anyone staring at a candle-captioned family. First, while their bank account whispers otherwise, custodian is not owner. A 529 plan has rules that don't vanish under holidays or intentions. A 1099 Q is a letter you answer with evidence, not tears. Put 2-factor on everything. Don't use security answers a parent could guess. Make folders by date, logins, distributions, repayment, and pretend the future you is tired and grateful. Write agreements in plain language and sign when everyone is calm. Don't argue from childhood, argue from timestamps. If someone requests discretion, answer with documentation. If you can repay harm fast, repay fast. If you can't, speak plainly and make the plan in daylight. Find a Priya, a Patel, a Nora. Forgiveness isn't access. My mother loves hard and sometimes wrong. I can love her without handing her keys to rooms she redecorates while I sleep. My job isn't little. It keeps medicines cold, filings timely, and a sister housed. Small isn't fragile. Sometimes it's simply close enough to carry. After dishes, I shelve the baseball card binder. I text Mom a photo and write, "Dinner next Sunday. Soup again." She replies with a thumbs up, which is enough. I go to bed with the cabinet door open to the list and the folder on the counter. Not a talisman now, but instructions to a life I will keep building. What would you do if love arrived holding a key to your lock?